Hello again, witchy people. We are back to witching on a budget again today. Have been all this week actually. Trying to save a bit of money because I spent too much on seeds. And although my parts of my garden are growing beautifully, my pocket and my purse are somewhat barren. Okay, and I actually did I wrote notes. I'm being really good because I've had a tiring few days. Anyway, so my next budget tip, and it's not a big one. Just lately I've been making my own loose incense because I found it very expensive to purchase. And then I found out the reason why it's so expensive to buy is because the ingredients are so expensive in the first place. But there are some shortcuts you can make. So my first one is, and this is a really simple one, I have what originally it was an indoor jasmine. My mum bought me a little jasmine plant. It was tiny, it was about this big, and I planted it out in the garden because I don't do indoor plants. I'm not, it's not that I'm not green fingered, it's that I have this thing, whereas if you want to grow, you'll grow, and if you don't, you'll just die off and leave me alone. So I tend not to look after plants very well. I forget. So anyway, I planted this plant out in the garden and it has been moved several times. I had to move it away from a south-facing wall because it just went mental. This jasmine, and I cut it back away from my pathway. The roots are in the shade, but the actual plant creeps round to the sun. It's on the corner of my summer house. And this plant goes mad. And it was taking over about 2 foot of my garden path. So I thought, oh, I'll trim it back. But I saved the leaves. Now, jasmine leaf isn't something you often think about. Obviously, it's the jasmine flower that most people think of. But the jasmine leaf has a wonderful scent. It's like fresh grass, but slightly sweeter. And if you burn it with anything, use it as incense. If you burn it with anything citrusy or jasmine itself, it's beautiful. Trust me, it is lovely. So don't throw away any of your cuttings, when you cut back bushes and stuff, save them. But like I said, jasmine especially is wonderful. So, and this is about a fifth of what I got off my plant. So yeah, that's really good. Now I did mention citrus. So, and I like to burn jasmine with citrus peel, obviously. And I dry my own citrus peel because, you buy these older lemons and oranges and limes and in the supermarket, unfortunately. And if you're not going to use them, or if you just use them for juice and you have these leftover husks of peel of the lemons especially, just dry them out in the oven. And then when they're fully dried, and you do it what I call my meringue oven, so you put it on an extremely low heat and just leave it overnight. Same as if you dry out the jasmine leaves, dry them overnight, really, really slow, because you don't want to lose all that scent, which if you dry them on a hotter oven, it will lose the scent. So you want to dry it on a really, really low oven if you haven't got patience or places to dry them outside or to hang them up. So I'm just looking back because I do actually dry mint leaves up. Oh, you can just see them just on the corner, just there. Where's my hand? Where's my hand? There, just there. That's mint leaves drying out, just a tiny bunch. And that's for my Hecate oil. Got to have proper mint, not mint oil. Anyway, I digress. So when I dry out lemons, the first thing I would say is before you juice them and want to dry them out, you want to soak them in boiling water, because you want to get off the wax that they use, especially in supermarkets. They kind of dip them in this really thin coating of wax to keep them fresh. So you want to do that first, and it makes them easier to juice. Take the juice out and then just dry them out. Now you can use the flesh left over inside. That does make a really nice dried potpourri. But this is my rind. You see, I grind it to oblivion. And that is simply because if I use this in incense, or if I'm using in spell works and I'm going to burn it, to be honest, the smell of burning lemon is pretty awful. But if you powder it, you get more, it's more evenly spaced. You don't get this sudden burst of burnt lemon. But also, what I do in here, oh, that smells good. Little silicone sachets. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, just to make sure that it stays dry, which it does. So there you go. Better than having whole bits of strips, and better actually than buying it already dried. So dried incense, expensive. And I've been doing a few experiments, and it's something that I've done for a while, but I thought I'm going to try this. And I've done a few experiments with other bits and pieces I've had left over, rather than just the normal things I use. So this is my real budget tip. Like I said, loose incense, incredibly expensive. Out of date tea, incredibly cheap. Loose tea, and even tea in tea bags actually, because you can split it open and yeah, you can split it open and take the bits out. But here we go. This is a mango, and what is this? Mango madness. I don't know what's in it exactly. It smells beautiful burning as incense. I haven't got my glasses. Glasses. Terrible, isn't it? Okay, ingredients. Apples. Oh, I'm reading the French. Apples, white tea, candied pineapple, which has got citric acid in it, orange pieces and peel, safflower, strawberries, calendula, which is marigold, mango, stevia extract, which has got the natural mango flavouring. Stevia extract is just a plant that is a good replacement for sugar, if no one knew before. So that's what's in there. Now, if you burn that as loose incense, it's beautiful. Another one, which is my favourite, which I use quite a lot, is Marrakech Mint. And that's a green tea, as you can see. And this comes in bags, and you just loosen up, tear open the bags. Do not compost these. Modern day tea bags don't compost. They don't deteriorate like old bags. That sounded terrible. Yes, but for anyone who suffers from broken and split nails occasionally, and you get those little like little fiberglass bits that you can put over your split in your nail to mend your nail. Tea bag. Cut out a piece of tea bag, or tear a bit. Actually, tearing a bit is easier. And use nail glue on a break in your fingernail, and it works so much better. It does become invisible with the glue. It's fantastic. So don't throw away those. You can use them. Pop a bit of coffee grounds in there and fold it over, and I staple mine naughtily. Yeah, bit of coffee grounds, staple it, use it as a coffee filter, a one-pot coffee filter. But don't throw them away. Don't bury them. Don't put them in the compost. They do not compost down. They don't rot away. So yeah, unfortunately. But I'm sure there's a million and one things people can think of. So anyway, empty them out, and you use the tea leaves inside as a loose incense. Obviously mix it with all other sorts of things like lemon peel and dried jasmine leaves. If you want, jasmine leaves actually bring out the scent of jasmine quite well. So I'm looking around to see. There we go. But you can also add jasmine fragrance oil. Now, this isn't jasmine essential oil. This is jasmine fragrance oil, which is obviously a lot cheaper. So a couple of drops of that in with the leaves brings out the scent of the jasmine, and that freshness of the grass scent goes beautifully with the jasmine. And it makes a really good jasmine incense without actually having to buy expensive jasmine flowers or jasmine essential oil. Very, very much cheaper. I mean, these bottles are like £1. You can get them in pound stores and thrift stores and all sorts. Now then, for burning your newfound freedom on loose incense using tea and leftovers, what you need obviously is a oil burner. I couldn't find the one that looks like a normal oil burner, so you want a tea light. Now if you need the flame to be closer, you just use oh, what they call the slightly larger candles. If you are worried about staining the top, all you do is you put a layer of foil over the top. If you're burning resins in with your loose incense, always put foil in the top of this first. If you don't, the resins just, they bubble away in there. This does get really hot. You can, if you want, add a little bit of water and do it that way. But if you burn incense in an oil burner, you don't get that horrible acrid smoke. You do get a bit of smoke, especially if you burn tea. It's lovely. If you burn white tea or even black tea, it does actually smell really nice. There's one called oolong milk tea. And if you burn that in an oil burner, just put a bit in the top and light the candle, the scent is lovely. It's like a caramelly, milky tea. It's a beautiful, beautiful scent. But yes, for a lot of loose incense, I would advise using an oil burner. So the flame, you're not burning it directly. And that way, especially if you're using citrus peel and resins, but citrus peel especially, you don't get that acrid smell as it burns. It just warms it up and releases all the scent, and it's so much better. If you have not got an oil burner, there are other things you can do. You can make a little tent, a little bridge out of foil. I would say use 3 or 4 layers so it's nice and stiff. And just drop a candle underneath it, make it about this high, just a little bridge of foil. If you make it into sort of like a bridge shape and then 2 little feet sticking out the side, I'm trying to, right, I'll use a piece of paper. So what you want to do is make, and obviously it has to be quite level, but you make your bridge shape, doing this so badly, so you make your bridge shape like this, okay, and then you want to do this. So you make 2 little feet at the sides, here and here, and you just put a stone or something each side just to weigh that down so that it doesn't wobble about and move. But then obviously you'll have it bigger than this. You put your dried incense on the top and you slip your candle in there. I'm sure if you do a search on YouTube or Google or something, you will find how to burn incense without non-charcoal loose incense burning. So there you go. And obviously if you already have an oil burner or you've got a piece of foil and a tea light candle, that's cheaper than buying charcoal discs. What else was I going to say? I think that is about it, actually. Obviously, if you're not really a tea drinker, but you know, you get these, they go incredibly cheap when they are getting close to out of date. All sorts of teas are obviously hibiscus tea, cherry blossom tea, absolutely beautiful scent, warming, not burning. Are really, really lovely. But coffee as well. So coffee grounds, used coffee grounds, if you're not burying them in the garden, because they do deter slugs and snails, use that. You pad the coffee grounds in here, make a little bowl of the coffee because it'll be damp, and then you dry it out and the scent will come through. Not if you've put milk in it, please don't burn that. Other than oolong tea, I haven't found anything that's got sort of like a milkiness in it that smells actually any good when you burn it. But yeah, but you can put things on top of the coffee to let the scent out, and that will keep going for hours and hours. And that's the other thing as well. If you're warming the incense in an oil burner rather than burning it straight onto a charcoal disc, it will last for hours and hours and hours. The scent isn't so instant, but you notice it, especially if you leave a room and walk back in, you'll think, oh, what's that? And it kind of permeates everything. It's absolutely beautiful. So that's definitely, you know, it does work out a lot cheaper. But loose tea, any kind of tea actually that's gone out of date, try it. This one, Mango Madness, I haven't had a huge amount of trying out with, but what I have done seems really nice. But like I said, the Marrakech Mint is absolutely beautiful. It's just got this really, it's not so much a fresh mint smell as a warm mint smell. It's really strange, but nice. So there you go. Incense on a budget, dried tea. I think that was all actually. Yep, cover bowl in foil. Yep. Citrus peel does not burn evenly. Obviously, you want it to do this, and it's better if you warm it rather than burn it. So yeah, I haven't broken anything, I swear. That's it. That's my whole thing today. I'm now going to finish my coffee because I don't drink tea. My daughter is the tea drinker in the house. I very rarely drink tea. I like cold tea. I don't like milky tea. It's just how very un-English of me, I know. But there you go. My daughter is a tea drinker and we have lots of leftover tea and such like. So there you go. Incense on a budget, loose tea, give it a go. But use an oil burner, not a charcoal disc. Thank you for watching, witchy people. Bye for now.